had a difficult time when we look at our circumstance and our situation. We've had a difficult time explaining how 1 minute we're on top of the world, and the next minute it seems like the world is on top of us. Can I get a witness, somebody? And so since we can't explain it, oftentimes we just sum it up like this and say stuff happens. Seemingly, brothers and sisters, stuff just happens on our personal horizon at a curious point in time, and at a time where you may not fully comprehend it, but you can plainly see when you look back over your life that there's been a twisting of your plans and God's plans for your life. You see, my brothers and sisters, you've heard me say this so many times that a good idea is not always a God idea. Can I get a witness, somebody? What you plan to do to yourself, by yourself, and for yourself seemed like Spock used to say, logical at the time. But touch your neighbor and say, it's a mess now. And so we must be careful that we don't get our plans mixed up with God's plans for our life. They're not always in sync with each other. Because I am convinced, my brothers and sisters, when I look at that scripture that talks about the boy that set out on his own, I am convinced that this boy never intended to be or envisioned himself as the prodigal son. I believe that that's a title that we've given him, but that's not how he sees himself. If you look at the text real closely, you will understand that this boy sees himself as a future entrepreneur, as perhaps the next Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. All he needs is a little capital to fund the $1 million concept he's about to launch. I'm convinced that this boy had a plan to take his part of the father's inheritance, and everybody say flip it, so that when he comes home to the father again, in his plan and in his mind, he will be loaded down with more money, more money, more money. Yeah. And he will be laid back in a Maybach riding on 24s. And in his mind, so then, the father would have to acknowledge that you did it, son. You have made me proud. You can be sure, my brothers and sisters, that that young man in the Bible had a plan. He did not see himself being in a hog pen. But then he must have said something to himself like this. He must have said to himself, tomorrow I'm going to get busy with my plan. But tonight I'm going to party like it's 1999. Tonight I'm going to drop it like it's hot. Tonight I'm genuine. I'm going to get me a little shorty to ride my pony. Saints, I believe in my heart that this boy meant to do well. But then the next thing we know is that he's in the hog pen. And that's what I want to talk to y'all about today. I meant it, but then something happened.